not tomorrow. But we got to live for the day, and we got to live for tomorrow. So a lot of people don't want to deal with the financial resolutions, and I'll tell you why. For a lot of people, they're just trying to make it. I guess I answered my own question. Somebody else can answer it. Go ahead. You got a mic, Brother Tony? We want people on Facebook to hear what his question is. Or answer the question anyway.
No, I just was going to say, one of the reasons I think people don't make financial goals, and I use myself for an example, you just don't think you have enough money. You heard the term used, paycheck to paycheck. And so if you just living paycheck to paycheck, now budget would be the ideal thing, but guess what? Nobody told me about a budget.
Right.
Don't even know what it is.
Right. So
I just got to do what I got to do this week, and then next week and week after that. So you really, sometimes you feel like you don't have we have a question sometimes. Well, can I invest $100? How much do I have to invest? You always say like $100 or something. Like that's unheard of to me. I didn't believe that. Yeah. At least not believe it. I didn't know that.
You didn't know that because you wasn't in an environment where that was being practiced, because they were just trying to make it. So that's why we have to give classes like this. And I told y'all what woke me up. Now, my parents did a good job with the money they made. I mean, they had different roles. My dad paid the bills, but my mom would squeeze the pennies. So she would make a penny cry. And, she was coupon queen. How many people use coupons? People got so much money now, they don't even think about coupons. Because back in the day, on Sunday paper, it was just full of what? Coupons. But now you get them in the mail. Renee was like that when we first got married, but as time went by, she just left the coupons alone. Because a lot of times you go to the discount stores, because she always shopped at these off-brand stores like, TJ Maxx, Stein Mart, Marshalls, and all of them. The coupons mainly that she used. And really when you got, like, I went to Food Line today and bought that stuff, you got that little thing. And when you pay for your stuff, they swipe it, and then they tell you what came off. So really you got to kind of you got it in your pocket, really. You don't really need the paper anymore. So as long as you got the Food Line, Kroger, Walmart don't have a little swipe thing, but it can fit right on your key ring. Publix don't. I think Publix do. No, I don't think they have it either. But you get a lot of stuff off that way without having to have the coupons. So you see, making a budget. This is a sample of a budget, a Christian type budget, that you can kind of read this. If you can read, I hope you can. You might. I was trying to fit it on here, but it got the little areas where you can kind of start with the areas you need to work with. You can see it because I can see it without my glasses. You probably can see it better also, but you can just plug in that for yourself, or you can write those things on a piece of paper, and then you just plug it in and kind of get your idea. Now, the best way to do a budget, starting off scratch, is to get your statement from your bank for the month. Like, I still have my statements mailed to me. I don't care if they charge me $1.99 anyway. But if not, you're going to go online. And you have to look at everything that you spent for that statement period. Most of the statements are cut off around the 25th, 26th, 27th. And then you can start adding stuff up. That's what I do when I talk to people about a budget, because they don't really know how to start. I say, well, let me see what your statements say. Bring your statement, we'll go over it. And then that's when you really know what you're spending. That's not even counting what they put on the credit card. So that's a whole separate. This is just what they spent on their month. They put a debit card or they wrote a check. So you got to start somewhere. So the only way you're going to know, you have to look at your statement so you can see where your money went, because it went somewhere. And then you start looking at stuff that you can start knocking off. Because I say, what you got to have? I know I say to make it funny, but I always tell the women, I say, I'm not going to fight you with the nails, hair, and toes. I'm not going to fight that. You go get your hair done, go get your nails done, pay whatever you're going to pay. Nah, what else is, we got to chop off. And then we go with it from there. And then the guys, they have their own little special stuff on there. I said, you got the gym charge. Are you going to the gym? No, I'm not going. I said, well, you need to think about it. I said, you get you a mat, and I'll show you how to do some push-ups and sit-ups like I did in the Army. Or get you a couple of dumbbells, and you can just do some biceps things, and you can go around your neighborhood and walk. Instead of you going wasting that money on the gym. Or if some people got car wash stuff, and they don't use it, because you can use car wash all the time, but a lot of times they don't. It comes out, and after a while you forget about it. Not saying you shouldn't have it, but if you're not going to use it, then why you gonna pay for it? So just little stuff that adds up when you start going through stuff. But it's up to them what they want to take off. I just pointed out to them. Now, if you want me to send you a bigger thing of this, I can. I was just trying to show some for example that we can at least read and stuff like that.
I started not to say anything because I thought it might be silly to say this, but I have a budget. I have a weekly budget.
All right.
Where I allow myself so much money to spend per week without going over it. Now, sometimes it's difficult because not only do I maybe eat out once a week, I find myself going to the store buying fruit and some other stuff, or I find myself buying stuff that's not edible. And I also use that same money to put in Sunday school and offering. So I find myself sometimes giving out, because sometimes I go over it.
Well,
I try very hard to stick to that.
I know.
But sometimes I do go
Well, just
over.
like this month, I'm going over because I'm having my family reunion at my house on Saturday. So my weekly grocery budget is no more for this week and next week. I mean, last week I got to get stuff. I can't stick to it. But I know this time of year, Christmas, Thanksgiving, that's going to happen. So it's just the way it is. And, because then you get unexpected expenses. But if you're going to host people at your house, you got to get the food and you got to get the firecrackers or whatever you're going to use, and you're going to go past your budget. But the thing is, once you get through with it, that's 1 or 2 times or 3 times or whatever it happens, and you just go sit back to it. Now, you may have to cut some things out for the next few weeks, which I do. And that's why I buy my groceries online. I don't go to the grocery store unless it's like I'm going probably Friday because of the 4th of July, and I go through Thanksgiving and Christmas, and we have Super Bowl. That's the only time I walk the aisles. Other than that, I got a budget that I use for Walmart online every week. And if I can go past that budget, I start taking stuff off I can get the next week. Like I don't need the paper towels this week, I just take it off. If I don't need the Listerine this week, I just take it off. Because I always try to have a backup for everything anyway, so it's not like I'm down to nothing. I guess the military taught me that, though, to have stock. So the thing is, but this week, I'm not worried about that because everything on the list I needed. Because we're going to, just to do it. So sometimes you're going to go out of it, but then you just get right back into it. Maybe you won't save as much this month, or maybe you won't get something done, or, it's not hard to do. But to me, it's easier for me to do it online and just have it delivered. Even with the money I spend for the tip, I still come out ahead because I'm not buying anything that I don't need, that I saw at the store I didn't intend to get. And I done the crunch of the numbers, and I done saved I don't know how much money. And then when you're in the store, you really don't know what you bought until you get up there, unless you got a calculator while you're going. So to me, because I already got my list made for the week,